what it says.
Transliteration.
And hadith, you read them directly from the translations.
Sorry?
From the translation of the hadith in English or in your languages.
English.
Right. So what are the things that you found in the Quran and the hadith which you know for sure definitely it's not from God? That gives you an indication of. Start with the Quran. What that you have read in the Quran gives you an indication that that cannot be from God?
See, one of the things, your question presupposes that there is a God that is all-knowing and all-seeing and everything. And the thing is that that is not a universal belief. Some people believe that there isn't. And some people believe that
what do you believe?
And some people believe that we don't know whether there is a God or not.
What do you believe?
Waiting for them. I'm waiting to know whether there is a God or not. I'm waiting for.
So you are waiting to know whether there is a God or not. Okay.
Yeah, and I think science is actually making headway.
Fine. So this book, which claims to be from God, because you are waiting to know, so the possibility exists that God exists or God doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You can take this as a claim where, okay, this book either is from God, which exists, or if this God doesn't exist, of course this book cannot be from God, because God doesn't exist. So let's take that option. Is there anything indicative in this book that says that God, this book is not from God, if God existed?
If God existed and this was the book from God, it would be self-contained and complete in its entirety as a book.
What is it that is indicative that it's not from God?
Do you hear what I just said? I said that.
You hear what I said?
Yeah, but also hear what I said. I said that for me to believe that this book was more than just a book, it was a complete entity in its own right. It would actually be self-contained and complete in its own right without any reference, without requiring any references from anything else.
Sure. So what do you find in the Quran that is not self-contained?
What I understand regarding the faith that follows the Quran is that you need to actually read the hadiths are in addition to the Quran, or they're an explanation of the Quran. And for me, if it was a book from God, which was a complete, I would not need any other book. I'd actually get all the information from the book.
Okay. So if God says pray, so he has to tell you how to pray, every single details, right? That's what you expect.
If it's a complete book, yes.
So if God wants to guide you in everything, how big is the book going to be? What is the book size? The size of the book do you expect? If every single miniature, all the details, intricate details of everything that there is to know, everything for life affairs, what is the size you're expecting? That's for my information.
That is going on the ridiculous.
No, it's not ridiculous.
I'm actually explaining. That's what I'm explaining. It is ridiculous.
No, it's not.
It cannot cover every single thing in detail of the actual actions and the steps. And the
Why not? You said he has to recourse without any external source.
If you listen to me, it would actually give me enough of the information and the principles in order for me to go and do what I need to do in order to follow the rules and the regulations of that.
And what about the details? How do you follow the details?
Because the principles, the principles would actually be enough information for me to know what I need to do.
No, that's not what God says. God's giving you to do things in details. So where would you find the details?
No, the thing is that you're confusing detail of principles and detail of actions. Detail of action is impossible because then it will mean that.
Where would you find those details?
Can I answer in my own way?
Of course.
Because if you're talking about instructive details of how to do things, as opposed to the principles of how to do things, then it should even actually include how you walk and how you look, and that is ridiculous.
So you're saying a God that gives you guidance only gives you principles, and that's sufficient?
It will give me principles on how to live my life.
Yeah, and that is sufficient?
That would be sufficient.
Right. So if the Quran gave you principles, that is sufficient, right?
Complete. That are comprehensive, yes.
Hang on. You've just contradicted yourself.
No, I
comprehensive. The word comprehensive.
Comprehensive principles.
Right.
How to live my life.
Right.
Not comprehensive details.
Okay. So if the Quran says, for explanation, go to the Prophet. So it's given you a principle which is complete and comprehensive. It doesn't even have to say another word. It simply says, follow the Prophet. And the Prophet then explains to you how to do all these details, actions. So you agree with that principle then? It's a comprehensive principle.
No. You see, the thing is that...
Why no?
Can I explain? Yeah. The thing is that if it tells me to follow an individual...
Who's this individual?
Whatever the individual is. Whatever the individual is. And it says follow this individual. I'd expect that individual to be an example of illustrating the principles and the detailed principles that are in the manual. I would not expect
Correct. Agree.
Can I finish? I would not expect that individual to actually add or elaborate on anything. I would expect them to actually just do the footsteps in that.
Again, you're making a little bit not sense at the end. That individual should live this message. Live. If you're saying he cannot elaborate, then you're mistaken. Because elaboration is, for example, when God says, for example, pray, and he elaborates how you pray, the manners you pray. That is the duty of the messenger, prophets and messengers. God, otherwise, you expect them just to say pray, and guess what? Some people bake their own feces and eat and says, this is my prayer. I've seen a documentary on Channel 4 many years ago. A Hindu guru, he excreted, he baked his own feces and he eats it. And he says, this is how my worship is. So if God, according to your principle, comprehensive principle, just left to this message, pray, and people think prayer is that way, eating your own feces, would you say he's to blame? Why would he be blamed?
For example, how to pray. This is
why would he be blamed?
You know, the problem, with all my respect, many of the people who have issues with the Sunnah, they have because of lack of understanding the Arabic language. With all my respect, the lack of understanding the Arabic language that leads them to this. They say, because you don't understand Arabic properly. When Allah says in the Quran, like I will tell you something. When Allah says in the Quran, أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول. In Arabic, this wow al-atf, al-waw تفيد المغايرة. The meaning of that, we just elaborate with this. When Allah is saying, obey Allah and His Messenger, this and here, it means there is distinct, there is distinct information that comes from Allah, and there is different one that comes from the Prophet ﷺ. And both of them we have to obey. This is the Arabic. This is the Arabic principle. I wanted to explain to you because you said the lack of Arabic language. When Allah,
no, it's not that. I think you've extrapolated and gone too far.
Okay.
Let me actually just first. The Arabic language that the Quran was written in is actually not the Arabic language that you speak in.
What do you mean?
Where are you from? Where are you from?
Jordan.
So you actually believe that you speak Fusha in Jordan?
I speak Fusha.
No, but in Jordan as a people.
No, they don't speak proper Fusha.
No, please.
No, we don't speak proper Fusha, but we learn Fusha.
So
even Al Jazeera now
let me go on. Hold on a second. You're asking about our education. In the schools, we don't learn. Let me tell you, because you're just jumping the thing. In the schools, we don't learn the slang language. In the school, we learn from grade 0 and even from even before the kindergarten, Fusha, until we graduate. We literally all our education in Fusha. That's how is it. We don't even, our Arabic teachers, they used to speak to us in Fusha, and we have to respond to them in Fusha. The way our education system is like that. So you cannot say, because you didn't learn, you didn't understand. No, it's not like that.
We have Arabic.
You understand? So the education, so even the Somalis, from Somalia, they used to learn Fusha. That's how they used to, even though they speak Somali amongst themselves.
Even Al Jazeera they use.
But they learn Fusha. So learning Fusha is there, and we are able to speak Fusha. That's why we are able to understand the Quran.
Can I ask you a question?
Okay, I'm asking now.
In terms of if you actually go, when you're actually discussing the Quran, why do you get the scholars, religious scholars that I've referred to, having authority over the interpretation of some verses and words in the Quran?
Hold on a second. Now here, Allah said in the Quran, this is answered in the Quran. Allah said in the Quran here, this ayah, let me give you, because here, we sometimes, look at this. Yeah? Allah said here, this is the problem, but your lack of understanding the Quran, lack of understanding Arabic will lead you to that. I will get you this down here.
Which is the best interpretation.
وَإِذَا جَاءَهُمْ أَمْرٌ مِنَ الْأَمْنِ أَوْ الْخَوْفِ أَذَاعُوا بِهِ, which means if something out of fear or something, a matter comes to them out of fear, or out of, for example, security, issues, أَذَاعُوا بِهِ, then they will spread rumors about it. Then Allah said, وَلَوْ رَدُّوهُ إلى الرسول, if they have referred back to the Rasul, to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وإلى أولي الأمر منهم, and the people who are in charge amongst them. And now Allah will explain, لعلمه الذين يستنبطونه منهم, then the people who have the understanding of it, they will give the right interpretation with it. So Allah is saying this, the authority is not me or you, the people who understand the Quran, the people who spend their lifetime reading and understanding the Quran and the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, then they will give you the right understanding. Then Allah said, ولولا فضل الله عليكم ورحمته لاتبعتم الشيطان إلا قليلا. And because of the favors of Allah and His mercy, otherwise you're going to follow the shaitan, except minority amongst you. So here Allah is saying this. Are you rejecting this ayah?
Can I address?
Yeah, before you reject, because we need to. Because I like short. Because in order for me to understand. So do you accept this ayah? Do you accept this ayah?
See, that kind of dialogue is called leading.
Okay.
And then you actually.
Do you accept this ayah?
Can you actually listen to what I've got to say?
You know, because the thing, I will listen to you.
No.
I will listen to you, but you do the same thing with me. Do the same.
It's neither here nor there because I'm not a Muslim.
You're not a Muslim?
Yeah, I'm not a Muslim.
Okay. So what are you discussing about Islam then?
No, it's because I'm asking questions.
Okay, ask.
So it is not.
Okay, fine. So if you are not a Muslim, I just don't understand. I thought you are a Muslim.
No.
That's why you talk about, okay, we need to accept the Quran, not Sunnah. So that's why I thought you were Muslim.
No. What I was asking is if you're actually talking about that, if you have to go to other people to get clarification, who are human beings, they may be scholars, but remember that we are all equal. According to Islam, we are all equal. The only thing.
No, we're not equal.
We're not equal.
No, we're not equal.
Where did you get that from?
You cannot talk about
now
Islam.
You're talking about human beings. You're conflating the issues
in
again.
Islam, there is a hierarchy in Islam. No, we're not equal.
Is the one who knows equal to the one who doesn't know? Of course
they're not equal.
They're not equal.
It doesn't matter. It is humanity.
But we're not talking about humanity. That's not the issue here. The discussion is about knowledge.
So knowledge, we're not equal in knowledge. No, we're not.
You've just read a verse which actually says that knowledge, there are others that are more knowledgeable than others.
Yes.
So
that's true.
How could I be talking about that when you just come
Okay, that's fine. So we're not equal.
But the problem,
because you said in Islam we're equal. I said to you, no, we're not equal. I'm just responding to your assumption. You understand?
The thing is that if you cannot actually listen to people, and when you're trying to have a dialogue, I'm just responding. I'm not. Listen, don't accuse me with the things. You're just proving it. You're just proving it now.
Say whatever you don't accuse me in anything.
No, I'm not. You are displaying it. I do not have to actually get it from anywhere. You're displaying it right now.
Okay, finish.
So if
how about yourself? Actually, how about yourself? Why, instead of talking about one subject, you go into all these different tangents? Stick to your own principles. If you really have principles, stick to them. That's your first advice. To me and to you, because we talk about principles and principles. You're not displaying any of them. I'm sorry. Sticking to your principles. We are discussing about life. Remember, we said in the Quran, what is it that you see that is not indicative of that is not from God? Something that tells you it cannot be from God if God existed. That is what I'm asking you. So you're saying the Quran has to be complete, but then you said it cannot be complete because it's impossible to have all the details, so it has to be comprehensive in its principle.
I did not say that.
Okay. Did you not say it needs to be comprehensive in its principles?
Yes, I did not say that. And then I differentiated the things, the procedures and steps from principles.
That's what I'm saying. The Quran gives you principles and guidance, and it is complete. And then the Quran, the way it even completes its principle by saying, look, if you want to have more explanation, go to the Prophet. That principle and all is quite comprehensive. So if you want more of the details, where do you go? You go to the Prophet. I'm asking simply on this issue, why do you disagree with this principle? Because this is a principle that Quran gave. If you want the details, now you're saying the details we have to follow the leaders of our country, the Tom, Dick and Harrys and the Parliament. Wait, let me finish. You see, now you're not listening to me. Now you're not listening.
The same thing.
Now you're not listening. You're making comments without even understanding my point, right? You see, you're not being very patiently listening to this argument. I'm saying you have accepted that you don't need the details of everything to be in a religious book from God. That's what you said. I am saying, good. If this is the case, the Quran actually doesn't go into all the details of everything. If it did, it would not be this book this size. It will be an encyclopedic volume with no ends, right? Having everything for everything. What it does give is principles which are comprehensive. One of those principles is, as I said, for any detailed explanation of anything, it refers to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yeah, he will be one making the tibyan likulli shay, explanation of everything that you want, the detailed explanation. So, yeah, of course, but he's the Prophet, and of course there will be other explanations. So, if you don't accept that principle from this divine being, saying he put a principle in this Quran, but I don't accept it. So I'm going to ask you a counter question. Where would you find the details which are exactly divinely accepted, if it's not from the Prophet and Messenger who gives the explanation? Would you like to elaborate that first?
Before we actually jumped and went all wayward, we were actually discussing exactly what you're saying, which I agree that you said that if the details, or we are seeking details as a Muslim, the Quran tells one to go and follow, get the information or the details from the Prophet. And when we actually agree that and say, okay, so by that you also mean that, therefore by that definition, the Prophet is infallible.
In the religious teaching, yes.
Yes. Okay. And then if
so you have no problem in accepting that principle?
No, I'm saying that I'm just following logic here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm just following. So I'm not disputing what I'm just.
So this is logically sound, right? This is a logically sound principle.
If that's exactly the point I was making, that if one of the principles is that the Prophet is the living example of the walking, in fact, the walking Quran.
Yes, he is, alayhi salatu wasalam.
Then the assumption follows that the Prophet is infallible.
Yes.
In the religious sense.
In the religious sense, yes.
Yeah.
No, not in every sense.
No, religion.
Why would you say in the religious sense?
No. So you expect him
Why
to...
would you actually limit him?
So,
okay, I will tell you why.
Go ahead.
Let me tell you why. Now, there is one hadith to indicate this here. One day the Prophet ﷺ in the battlefield, he was saying to the companion, in the Battle of Badr, the first battle, he was saying to the companion, he choose one place, and he said, let's ambush here. Let's do it here. Then one companion said to him, O Messenger of Allah, do you think, is this your opinion or is it revelation from God? Then he said, no, it is my opinion.
Tactical.
And I think it is a good place. Then he said to him, then Messenger of Allah, this is not a right choice. There is a better choice. Let's go to this such and such land. Now my point is, and in another place as well, in another situation, when the Prophet
you've answered that. Yeah, that's basically, but I want to get to that.
So when the Prophet migrated to Medina, the people of Medina, they used to bring the seed, because you know there is palm tree, female and a male tree.
Yeah.
They used to bring the male tree and put it beside the flower of the female tree in order
fertilize, yeah?
to fertilize. Now when they asked the Prophet, he said, don't do it. And then they stopped doing it. The following year, they lacked in dates. They said, oh, Messenger of Allah, it was better. Then he said, you know better in your lively matter. I am a messenger of Allah, alayhi salatu wasalam, that he came to teach us the religion of Allah. So his duty, alayhi salatu, so that's why he might be not an engineer, alayhi salatu wasalam.
Or a scientist.
He might be not a scientist. He might be not all of these things.
No, that's the point I was making. You understood where I was going. Yeah.
So that's what he said. In the matters of religion, yes, he is infallible. But in other things, he has his own ijtihad. He has his own. He has his own, ideas, and other people's ideas with other lively matters.
But you see, I get you. That's where I was going. You got where I was going, and you actually gave the examples that was given. But then there's a fundamental issue there. The fundamental issue is that when I'm following the Prophet, if I'm actually not meaning to be, if they assume that you are a prophet, and I'm following. No. It's an example. It's an example. It's not.
I don't like it. I have issues. So let's say if
someone is a prophet.
If someone is a prophet, and you're supposed to follow this person as a prophet, as a person who's been sent effectively by God to be an example of how to be a true believer. And then now you're telling me that in following this prophet, there has to be in some shape or form, I've got to be able to discern what is a religious matter and what is a non-religious matter. And based on that, I follow some of the things and not follow some of them. Does that really make sense?
No.
Yes.
No, that's your understanding is wrong, and it makes sense. You know, for you, your understanding is wrong, but it makes sense. How is that? Because we need to understand God didn't send an angel. God sent a human being like us. He get hurt. People they hurt him. People they tortured him. They abused him. They say things to him. It happens to him what happened to any nature or any human being. And part of it as well, he has his own, for example, ideas and thoughts about things. Yeah. So that shows that this is his human nature. Yeah, as a human being. Now, in terms of religious matter, because the infallibility in Islam, for you to know, means he will not make mistakes after revelation. The meaning of that, let me try to explain more.
After the angel.
When Allah is saying to him,
After revelation comes down to him.
don't do this, it means he will never do it. When Allah is saying to him, do this, he will do it with full submission. Yeah. Now the things that yet not Allah didn't reveal to him. Yeah. Allah didn't say to him, do it or not do it. Now this is his own opinion. Now it comes. If he did it, and God, for example, there are some incident, and this for you to, there are some incident. Allah has rectified him and told him it was better for you to do such, but he didn't know the future. He doesn't know the unseen because he's not God. But he will do what he sees. He will judge according to what he understands and see.
And that's why he's a prophet.
But that's why he's a prophet.
That's before.
But if Allah revealed to him, said to him, don't do it, he will never do it.
That's prophecy.
This is the infallibility of him. It doesn't mean he might take some decision. He took some decision. For example, the decision of the prisoner of Badr. He took a decision. For example, he accept compensation. He accept people to, if they compensate them with wealth, or if they compensate them, for example, someone will teach 10 of the youngsters of the Muslims, he will have his freedom. He accept this, but Allah told him later on, rectified him. That's because he doesn't know. There
was no prior revelation on this matter.
There's no prior revelation on this one. But later on, Allah told him, no, it was better for them. Those ones who has done these crimes to you, that you need to establish like the capital punishment on them. Now, this is the revelation that comes after. So what we are saying here, the infallibility of the Prophet ﷺ, the meaning after revelation, he will never go against it. You understand? But the other matters, that's normal. He's a human being. He will do choices.
So then that could.
And if he was right, Allah will keep it.
Okay.
If he was wrong, or if he was right, Allah will rectify it. You understand?
Yeah. Let's do this. Let's try and have a dialogue.
Yeah.
Not a monologue. So basically, what you're saying, you've contradicted, is what the Americans call an oxymoron. Infallibility, by definition, means that they cannot be wrong. So there is no human element which is not.
Okay, but that's the definition of Islam.
No. Infallibility. I think
this is the definition of Islam.
Which definition of infallibility?
Can you open the?
No. What is it? Can you open what?
Can you open a dictionary?
Oh, Islamic dictionary or
No, an English dictionary.
Right. So basically, now you're saying you're enforcing a meaning of the word. What? Excuse me. You are enforcing the meaning from the English dictionary of infallibility and applying this to the system of Islam. He just gave you in Islam. What do we understand by the infallibility of the Prophet?
We call it isma.
So if you don't want to use the word infallible, then call it isma, Arabic word. This is what it entails.
Okay.
Because the isma, the right word in Arabic is isma. Okay. Isma in Arabic means he will be infallible.
So he's
to do
ma'soom.
things. He's ma'soom. He will not do mistakes after revelation. When Allah revealed to him, he will never go against it.
So let's say this. That is a better a better explanation rather than actually saying infallible.
Yeah.
So when we actually look at that and say that, okay, then we're saying that after revelation, then all the revelations up to then are upheld. He actually embodies the revelations.
Sorry? Up to what? Up before the revelation came?
All the revelations that have been revealed or visited upon him, he actually upheld and abided by them and demonstrated.
Yes, exactly.
So that is. So now the question that I was asking first is, how, taking that into consideration, how do we actually explain to the person who is a follower what has been revealed and what has not been revealed in just following that prophet?
Good. That's a good question. Now we say God, Allah in Islam, as we know, if Allah noticed something or knows something, or if Allah, the Prophet ﷺ did something and Allah didn't rectify him, that means this is the will of God. This is what Allah loves from us. Which means his life now, all of it becomes isma, because if Allah rectified him, we know Allah has rectified him. If Allah didn't rectify him, that means it is the truth, and this how is it. Which means because Allah will be not quiet on things which is against his will. Yeah? So now after his death now, we know all his life now, we're not talking about all his life, if the things that been rectified, Allah rectified. The things which is not rectified,